Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Poetic License. Nobody can see it in the Zoom meeting, but I'm showing it anyway. Wanted to thank you all for going. Sorry that I've been technical difficulties running a little bit late, so I'm going to go right into reading, and then you guys can all share in the round robins. I'm going to give three poems for everybody. I am going to read in the first round, as I usually do, poetry from the latest release from cc&d magazine, which is titled Rainbows and Architecture. That is not a title in it, but there was something like, recording in progress. Hey, and John's recording this for the Zoom meeting for everyone, which is cool. Which is a combination of, I think there was a rainbows and unicorns, and there's a story running in a couple episodes called Architecture. So put them together, collage them into this a bunch of buildings in Shanghai and rainbows image for our front cover. I'm going to share with you three poems that appear in the end of the poetry section that not only appear in this book but also appear in the TUiiYH 2024 book, The Universe is in Your Hands. I am trying to set up camera feeds at the same time and it's not working, but I'm trying, I really am. But there are three poems and two of them seem oddly appropriate because it's supposed to be approaching the winter. So these are about Antarctica, two poems. The first one is titled You Never Felt Cold. Layer multiple socks under boots. Don't forget the few layers of pants and shirts and, of course, a sweater on top. Then adorn yourself with a headband, hat, scarf, gloves, and jacket, and an outer coat that protects you for the good camera while you hold your weatherproof camera for that ride on the rubber boat in case anything catches your eye while you take your one and only scheduled trek to Danco Harbor. Finally, disembark. I know it's just a rubber dinghy, but with that much gear on, this is the only word that adequately describes the tumult of getting out of such a tiny inflatable to step onto ice. So then they tell you to walk up that mountain to photograph more penguins. But it seems that every other step leads to you sinking 3 to 4 feet into this otherwise impenetrable wall of snow. After 20 minutes of struggling, you've made it barely 20 feet, and you're thinking, there's no way you'll make it to the top of that mountain before everyone else says it's time to leave. These penguins seem to surf along the ice, but they know what they're doing. You're just an immovable bundled ball. So you turn to the captain that was running that dinghy and say, no, I'm not going to make it up that mountain. And they look at you and they say, okay, then why don't you just walk like 50 feet that way and see all those other penguins that are jumping into the Southern Ocean? Well, that sounds like a novel idea, and you don't have to remain hip high in the snow to do it. You waddle your way over, assess the best place to sit so as to not disrupt the usual single file line of penguins making their way down the mountain to this one spot to jump into the Southern Ocean and porpoise their way through the ice-cold water. They group at this one spot. Wait, reposition yourself so that your elbows can support you while you try to catch just the right angle of all of these jumping penguins without, scaring them away. After 2+ hours of contorting yourself into different positions while repeatedly trying to get just the right photo, that's when you hear them say, "It's time to go." And that's when you realize that the entire time sitting on the ice, oddly enough, you never felt cold. I'm trying to show off penguins for you guys. There was like this massive line of they're like, let's all jump in. It was just like the craziest thing. And for over 700 photos, I did get one that worked perfectly. Of just, hi, I'm jumping in, woo, there we go. Which, it was crazy, and actually John was not feeling well and not able to make it to there, so I got to be hanging out with the penguins all by my lonesome. But I have one more related to Antarctica, and it is titled Once Your Brain Begins to Thaw. It was already a devastatingly cold journey, wearing I don't know how many layers for warmth while on the boat, only from Polaroid windows could you see cresting Southern Ocean waters into glaciers and icebergs. But you knew what you were getting yourself into during your first visit to Antarctica because, well, it's Antarctica. It's not like there are lavish hotels replete with hot tubs, maid services, and complimentary cocktails. So you knew that you'd be trapped on this boat unless you took a tiny rubber dinghy to a harbor to, photograph assorted sea lions, orcas, penguins, ice formations. But when they offered the chance to camp on Antarctica, you knew the temperatures would suck, but it was the literal bottom of the earth. Seldom if you ever even see. You really couldn't fathom doing anything else. So, land ho, I mean, ice ho. But wait, do they give you a tent or something to block out the mind-numbing cold? No, of course not. They give you a bivy bag, which keeps the sleeping bag within dry. That's it for warmth. At almost 6 feet tall, you say you need an extra large, and the man glances at the woman who's taller than them and says, "No, you don't," which only means you've made aware once again that men's received perceptions of women. Thanks for that sexism. We all are not petite waifs. Thank you, you prick. So, since a man won't listen to a woman, you've already camping in a bag that's already too small. You arrive on land. I mean, ice. Claim your space. Shovel out a hole with your gloved hands so the winds may not be the end of you that night. You look around at the nothingness around you and wonder how you're going to keep yourself warm enough to actually fall asleep. You can't close this bag around your face, so try to figure out how to tuck any of your exposed skin underneath anything to try to protect yourself. You huddle more. At this time of year, it's never totally dark, but at night it may seem less bright. Count on that to actually help you to sleep, versus the bone-chilling cold keeping you awake. You may finally drift in and out of slumber, but the rumbling chunks of ice avalanching from the mountain you're sleeping at the base of at 2:30 a.m., that's TUiiYH Argentinian Standard Time, they might disturb your rest, but at this point in the game, you can't even be concerned if these glaciers will fall on top of you and bury you forever. If you survive the night, you can then check to see if the newly fallen icebergs calved from the ice glaciers block your escape in the morning. For who knows, maybe that rhythmic rumbling softened by snow is the perfect sound to actually lull you back to sleep. Wake up pre-dawn with a few other campers. Feel a vague comfort that you're not the only one who found the experience absolutely miserable. But it is accomplished, so wait for someone to collect you and embark on an inflatable boat ride back to your base. Once your brain begins to thaw, think about what you have just put yourself through. You did it, and really, how many people that you know can actually say they camped on Antarctica? How was it? They'll ask. Miserable, you'll answer. And really, what more can you say? I think we might have pictures of the view, thank you, you guys, that's appearing not only in this brand new issue of cc&d, but also in The Universe is in Your Hands. And I have one more that I don't think I put into one of my shows in Chicago, but I'm going to share this one and then close it out and start doing an order for you guys right away. This is titled 150 Years, What Did We Learn? The Universe is in Your Hands edit. Walking through New Delhi, I photographed the statue of Mahatma Gandhi leading the salt march to the ocean to get salt there for free after Britain said they had to buy their heavily taxed salt instead. Why pay for something under British tyranny when we just walk the 390 kilometers to the ocean and get the salt ourselves? So, 80 started the Dandy March that grew to over 50,000 because so many protested the British imposed salt tax. That was the initiation of the civil disobedience movement that led to Britain leaving India. I left New Delhi, paid my way in Visakhapatnam with money emblazoned with that picture of Mahatma Gandhi's walk. And it made me think of the historic protests and acts of civil disobedience that changed the world. And then I think about the marches that occur with amazing regularity in the city I now reside, and I forget what all the protests are even for anymore. They seem to just be so many. And from what I can tell, nothing comes from this kind of civil disobedience any longer. It seems that everyone wants to jump on the protest bandwagon, and one protest after another leads to people walking together, feeling good about themselves, and thinking they made a difference, and posting the Instagram pics of them making a difference on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and any other social media online platform to prove it, when nothing has really changed. I know that leading by example alone is hardly the solution. But the 21st century walking in unison may no longer accomplish anything other than stroking the walkers' egos. This may be the dilemma of the modern times, when too many people see a problem and they do not know what to do other than to walk. What is that walk accomplishing other than improving your health and making you feel morally superior? Because I'm positive Mahatma Gandhi, opting to weave his own clothes instead of buying clothes to support a system he didn't believe in, he didn't do it so that he could feel all high and mighty. People now take a break from their day to participate in a march, and then they go back to their everyday lives. Mahatma Gandhi changed his life. The march was only a part of the story, and as a result, he changed the world too. Mahatma Gandhi didn't jump on a bandwagon to join others to protest for change. He started the journey himself, which he still does. And those who start those journeys too, to this day. And it was crazy when I'm getting to India. I'm gonna have to show this off, you guys. It's really hard with that base. 150 years, where's my image? Show it for you guys. Yes, having a thing of 500 rupees. I'm angling it so that people in the Zoom meeting can see it. And it's the Dandy March, it's their walk. And when I was actually there, yes, I did actually photograph it as well while I was there. So it was just kind of cool to be able to see that and be a part of that. And then you hear about the protests and it's like, what can people do now? So I thought I'd give you a little bit of a political thing on that one. So I will shut up, ladies and gentlemen, go into reading for you guys. I've got an order, and, you know, I feel like switching women around because Lorna might have to leave at 5 o'clock. Is that the case? She often does. I'm going to move you up to the front. John's going to read, and then Lorna, and then Tom, and then Susan, and then Richard. I guess you're in order, and I will say them off for you. So that means, but of course, that our Zoom host, Mr. Extraordinaire John F. McMullen, will be reading first, and then following him will be Lorna. So, my darling, I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you. I hope all is well, and I would love to hand it over to you and take it away, my darling, if you're ready.